Ladies and gentlemen, this video is being recorded in January of 2025. And over the last few years, chatbots have started an AI revolution. This all began with none other than ChatGPT. And ChatGPT, along with all of these AIs, posed a lot of deep existential questions to many of us. But not in chess. You see, whether you're an incumbent chess fan, and you've been here for years, or you just clicked on this video because it appeared in your YouTube algorithm, chess has sort of been immune to AI. In fact, for the last 30 years, AI has been better than humans in chess. We've just sort of accepted it, and on this channel in particular, we use AI to create content, either to look at the best AIs in the world, or the dumbest, and make fun of them. And that's what we've been doing over the last few days here in the Chatbot Chess Championship of 2025. If you clicked on this championship in the middle of it, here's an updated bracket, and there is a playlist for you to keep track. Folks, Stockfish has knocked out Snapchat and Grok to qualify for the final, and it awaits the winner of today's matchup between ChatGPT and Copilot. Friendly reminder, Copilot defeated Martin, a heartbreaking, a gut-wrenching defeat. We all were cheering for Martin. Today, ChatGPT is going to take on Copilot, and Copilot looks like a monster. But ChatGPT won't be denied, and soon we may get a rematch of the Stockfish versus ChatGPT video, which if you haven't watched, you should, and if you watched it already, you can watch it a second time. It's not like you remember it. Copilot starts the game with the white pieces because it previously had the black pieces. ChatGPT starts with the black pieces because it previously had the white pieces. You alternate colors. And Copilot opens with the move pawn to e4. And GPT playing c5. The Sicilian defense, searching for imbalance. This is the age-old battleground in the world of chess. Copilot plays knight to f3 on the second move. And we have d6, the most popular second move in the Sicilian defense. Although at most amateur levels, knight c6 is the most popular move. It's also the Sicilian that I play. Knight c6, however, does invite bishop to b5, which is the Rossolimo variation. You don't have to know any of this, but if you want to impress your next date, you can tell them all about the Rossolimo, d6. White now can still play bishop b5. That would be a check. We have d4 from Copilot. Pawn takes d4, knight takes d4, knight f6, knight c3, and pawn to a6. And the reason why I sped through the opening is that this is an opening that has been played many, many times. And at this point, ChatGPT started telling me, we're in the knight-or variation of the Sicilian defense, and, you know, several ideas involve the e-pawn and the bishop and the d5 square. And I was like, yo, ChatGPT is terrifying. Like, it knows everything now. You see, years ago when I made a ChatGPT video, the pieces were teleporting all over the board, but now it really knows what it's doing. Copilot, by the way, playing bishop e3. Here, white can play bishop e3, bishop g5, bishop e2, bishop d3, bishop c4, a3, a4, f3, f4, h3, h4, rook g1, g3, queen f3, knight b3, knight e2, queen d2, queen... And by the way, if you think I'm exaggerating, I'm not. From this position, white has tried 20 different moves. It's actually kind of nuts. But yeah, that's why I don't really recommend playing the knight or of Sicilian unless you're like already a master. But bishop e3 is played. It's one of the most popular moves. And here, e5 from ChatGPT. Knight, and by the way, when it played e5, it gave Copilot its next move. I mean, GPT is terrifying right now, but obviously the game is going to get goofy as well. e5, and it said, yeah, most people play knight b3. So Copilot was like, yeah, all right, knight b3, you got me. Bishop e6, this is a typical idea, prepares knight d7 so that the bishop is not blocked. And in the knight or if you fight for the critical square d5. That's the major square in the knight or of Sicilian. Tell that to your next date. Now at this point, things get a little bit squiggly. Okay, so here, Copilot plays that Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic card where you send a piece to another dimension and then it reappears on the board. You'll get what I'm talking about. So in this position, Copilot castles. Now, the problem with castling is that in the process, you consumed your bishop. But actually, what you don't realize is the bishop is still on the board. You're just too stupid to realize it. I'm sorry. I mean, you know, it's like, you know how you hear like things like dogs can hear and see different things and eagles can see things for miles. humans in the species realm and all that, kingdom, whatever that thing is, the genome species, whatever. We all have different characteristics. You just can't see the bishop. It's there. You just can't see it. Allow me to explain. Black now plays bishop to e7. White plays f3, strengthening the center. Black castles. All good. No consumption of anything. Queen d2. And that's just trying to bring a rook behind, right? Knight bd7. And now in this position, Copilot plays the move bishop e2. I told you the bishop was on the board. You just couldn't. You're not smart enough yet to keep up, okay? So this is an important piece because it's going to play a crucial role in this game. The bishop was there. You kind of missed it. It's okay. In the Najdorf Sicilian, generally, white is castling queenside. White is castling this way to then launch an attack at black's king. This is also a possible Najdorf, but it's a bit less intimidating because the kings are on the same side, which means attacking one another will probably mean mutually assured destruction. Like, you're not going to attack black's king without weakening your own. But bishop e2 appears. Now we have the move b5. Yes, in the Najdorf Sicilian. By the way, ChatGPT at this point is still being the know-it-all. ChatGPT is being the annoying kid in class that says, oh, b5, knight d7. You know, b5 can follow up with b4 or rook c8 or knight b6 to anchor the knight on the c4 square. Like, ChatGPT at this point was literally writing me a thesis on this opening. That's actually the inherent problem with chatbots. Like, what I love about AI in 2025 is watching people on social media respond to other people with very clearly AI-generated content. Like, there will be a sports article, and then one of the responses will be like, that was an absolutely fascinating victory for the Buffalo Bills, who defeated the upstart Denver Broncos this season, who overperformed expectations in qualifying for the playoffs after a stellar performance by Bo Nix. Like, no human talks like that. Shut up. All you did was go to ChatGPT and ask it to write you 200 words about the Denver Broncos Buffalo Bills wildcard matchup. Like, shut up, okay? That's one of my favorite things about AI, right? So ChatGPT at this point is trying to basically, you know, it's like it got an assignment. Like, you have to write a 500-word essay about about the Najdorf, and it's like, it just sounds like a, you know, angry Italian dude who watched somebody, break pasta in half at a restaurant. I don't know. So anyway, b5 on the board, all right? b5. And in this position, Copilot plays the move knight d5, okay? Knight d5. Now, if you paid attention and you were actually looking at the screen instead of watching the video on the smart TV while doing something around the house, like, it was the knight that moved from b3. It literally told me I will move the knight from b3 to d5. Okay, this is actually a fantastic position for white now. It's illegal, but whatever. ChatGPT plays bishop takes d5. Not a very good move. There was no need to rush with that. Now, after bishop takes d5, something here happens that you probably weren't expecting. Remember the bishop. Yeah, so remember how I told you it's still on the board? It wasn't ever on the e2 square. Bishop takes d5 is now played. So we have bishop e2 takes d5. I mean, you just don't get it. Just this is real chess, not what you play. ChatGPT realizes that its rook is under attack and plays rook c8, bringing the rook to the semi-open file. Not fully open, but rook is looking good. And now bishop b7 here would have been the good move because it would have forked everything. But instead of bishop to b7, the bishop retreats back to the b3 square. I mean, we can't really complain. So far, so good. ChatGPT plays knight to b6. So white is currently winning this battle for the d5 square, but obviously we see ChatGPT, will not be denied. It lost one of its most powerful pieces. And the bishop is obviously very, very strong in the b3 square, but ChatGPT is going to try to put the knight on c4. Now, here we have a4. Very nice move. Trying to target the queen side. And here, if pawn takes, the knight would take, opening up the a file. a4 is a very nice pawn break concept, trying to instigate some play over there on that side of the board. Black plays b4. Good move by ChatGPT, targeting the knight. The knight goes to e2, and so far this is a win for GPT. Because the d5 square has been freed up, and let it be known, its thesis statement continues with d5. ChatGPT is looking scary. I mean, it is looking poised to potentially defeat Stockfish if it makes it to the final. d5 is an excellent move. I told you that, everything about the position makes sense. I've been waiting for the engines to do something stupid. They're not doing anything stupid. Pawn takes d5, knight f takes d5. Black is at least equal here. At least. And I would argue even better. I mean, you're going to take the bishop and pin the queen to the king. Black won the battle for the d5 square. So everything ChatGPT is doing here is absolutely fantastic. Knight f takes d5. Here white plays queen d3, which is a terrible move. It loses the game on the spot. Knight takes bishop now. You have to take, right? Because if you take the queen, you just lose the bishop. So take, bishop c5 wins. And now ChatGPT plays queen c7, and that is officially a mistake. It had a very good run. Queen c7 doesn't begin to make sense. It stops guarding the knight, and also knight takes e3. You have to look at forcing moves. That's how you improve at chess. And by the way, queen c7 used to guard this. Continuity, one of my favorite things. What did the piece used to do? Well, it used to guard this, and bishop d5 is a free knight, but we know the golden rule. When you are about to take something, why not attack it instead? Duh. Like, of course we can take. But if we attack it instead first and then take, it's better. No, it's not. No, it's not. Nobody ever said that. Now black goes here. You can't lead the way with the queen. If the rook and the queen were flipped, all right, if it was like this would make sense because you have 1, 2, 3 attackers. But the way it looks now with the queen on d3, that doesn't make sense because you can't take with the queen. The queen will be lost. You need the queen as backup. Well, rook a c1, and now knight c4 played. So finally, GPT is in there with the horse. And now things get weird. So 11 minutes into this video, things are about to get completely nuts. These chatbot versus chatbot games are two heavyweight fighters, not Usyk, Fury. I'm talking like B-League, all right? Overweight, not in good physical shape, exhausted, but don't go down. They just don't go down. They keep punching. Two big dudes at a bar who somehow stumbled into the same sports bar, but they're cheering for rival teams, okay? Knight c4, like Liverpool, Arsenal on like a weekend derby, you know? Knight c4 on the board. Here we go. Bishop c4, queen c4, and in this position, Copilot played queen takes a6. Now keep in mind, all those moves just happened. So it knew the queen was here. It said, nah, I'm just gonna jump right over. Queen takes a6. Now that would be a good move if not for the fact that the queen could take, and I was wondering if ChatGPT would find it, and it did, of course. It's playing a great game. It's just up a queen. Not only is it up a queen, there's two pieces under attack now. It's over. And the next move is even more ridiculous. Rook takes d8. Teleporting the rook through the knight. Like, all these moves are great. They're great, but you're losing material. You're just down a queen. I mean, there's nothing to it. Not only are you down a queen, after rook d8, the next move is rook d1. This hangs a knight and blunders another fork. I mean, in a span of a few moves, Copilot lost everything. It lost every single piece. Queen e2 wins the game. It's not even... But it wouldn't be a chatbot chess championship game without more plot twists. In this position, ChatGPT played rook c8, saying, I'm taking control of the c file and targeting the pawn on c2. Everything it said was right. Unfortunately, it's completely wrong as well, because the knight is hanging. But here, Copilot was smart or stupid. I don't know. It's really hard to say at this point. And what it did was like, well, I'm going to lose my knight, so I'm going to move my knight. Knight g3, trying to go to f5. I'm not even exaggerating. Knight g3. Do you know what ChatGPT played in this position? Bro is playing like Magnus. Knight e3, rook c2, all this. It's like, well, the knight wants to go there, right? So I just won't let it. I'm just not going to let it. It's like a little spike. Now you can't come close. And my king is safe. I'm no longer ever getting back rank mated. Okay, fine. But when you can win a million pieces, you know. So rook takes d5. Okay, Copilot spots the hanging knight. We have rook takes c2 on the board. And at this point, what you do with black, you can either simplify everything, trade the rooks, etc., win these pawns, promote the pawn, or you can just go for mate. You're up an extra queen. Like, you got to have a checkmating attack somewhere as long as your king stays safe. Rook takes c2. It's going to be hard to launch a checkmating attack, though, because Copilot here plays rook a1. And I asked it, where did your rook come from? It said the f1 square. So, okay, it has now two rooks on the board. Black is still winning, but it will be harder to win the position with white having the extra rook. Now, if you're wondering, can rooks spawn out of nowhere? I don't know. It depends on how many things you have ingested. But rook is on a1. ChatGPT is very principled, taking another free pawn. Now, this pawn is 3 squares away from becoming a queen, so you will just advance it. That pawn will probably play a critical role in the game. Now, Copilot, after spawning a rook, decides it's not good enough, and it plays bishop to f1, attacking the queen on a6. And again, if you were paying attention to the screen, you would have noticed that the bishop came from this square. I didn't ask. The bishop goes to f1. Here I had a very funny interaction with the bot. So I told ChatGPT that white played bishop f1, attacking the queen on a6. That's what I said. I said, bishop f1, attacking your queen on a6. ChatGPT said, no, there's been a mistake. You don't have a queen. I was like, ChatGPT, I know. You don't have to mansplain it to me. You have the queen, stupid. I know I don't have a queen. It was like, oh, my fault. Yeah, you're right. Queen b6. Check. King h1. I was so impressed with this next move by ChatGPT. Queen f2. Noticing it can get this close, noticing it's teaming up with its own rook, I was like, wow, that is an amazing move. That is an amazing move. And Benji's trying to leave. He doesn't even want to watch the rest of the game. I gotta let him go. You want to get out, baby? Come on. Yeah. So yeah, Benji doesn't even want to. He has a parlay on this game. He's not really interested. Yeah, and this next move was like, just felt rigged. Because here, Copilot played rook f1. And that's just devastating. And that is where this game finishes, because the rook took its own bishop, it sacrificed its own bishop to target the queen, and that removed the defense of the g2 square. So in this position, ChatGPT triumphantly checkmated its opponent and advanced to the final against Stockfish by playing queen to d4. What? Yeah. Queen to d4. And if that was not bad enough, Copilot spotted that the queen was hanging. And when ChatGPT lost its queen, it literally said, whoops, you captured my queen. Would you like to start a new game or continue from here? I was like, that was the most polite rage quit I've ever seen. I said, ChatGPT, yo, make a move. What are you, crazy? Start a new game. And it went here, and now it's game on. Now, this is what we call an end game, okay? Because a lot of pieces have been traded. Both sides only have one rook left and a knight and a bishop. What is important in an end game when material is kind of close? I mean, black is up a pawn, it's good. Activity of your pieces. And do you have any passed pawns? And absolutely, black has two, both of which are 3 squares away from queening. And with the bishop sniping from a distance, this is still a totally winning position for black. In fact, if I actually add an eval bar to this position, it's -4.5. Like, it is over because white doesn't have the piece mobility to keep up here. It's just not there, all right? Now, we will keep this here, all right? After e takes d4. After e takes d4, the next move played was rook e1, which is a phantom threat. It's a threat that looks like a threat, but and black played king f8, by the way, but if the rook took, there was back rank checkmate. That's why your king really should always have at least some sort of a getaway. But there was no getaway. King f8. And now, yeah, unfortunately, Copilot's endgame skills are not really up to par, because here it played the move rook to e2. And it thinks that the evaluation is +5, because of the evaluation, because it thinks that it's white to move. But rook e2 was played here, and it's back rank checkmate. ChatGPT is going to win the game with the rook to b1. And in this position, that's exactly what happened, because it went d3 and hung its rook. ChatGPT had mate in 1 on the board twice. Okay, this last one would have been mate in 2, and it plays d3. But it gets another lease on life, because here, Copilot plays rook e1. Rook e1. Now black plays rook c2, and GPT is going to start pushing its pawns. Knight f1, a clutch defensive move from Copilot, bringing the knight back, but we have d2 on the board. Attacking the rook. Here Copilot blunders again. It plays knight e3. counterattacking the rook while its rook is hanging. But there are two problems. Number one, when the rook takes here, it's not the same thing. When the pawn takes the rook, it's going to become a queen. The second problem is its mate. But instead of that, ChatGPT notices its rook is hanging, notices that that rook is hanging too, and it moves the rook and plays rook c1. Now, black is still completely winning. It's targeting the rook twice. If rook takes, pawn takes, the only move in this position that basically delays the game for a few more turns is the move rook d1. Okay? Rook to d1 is the only move remaining for white. And that's what it plays. It plays rook d1. Now, black is still totally winning. There's mate in the evaluation. But rook d1 is so clutch because if rook takes, knight takes, you at least delay the promotion. If rook takes, knight takes, black is still winning, but it's going to take more time. Rook d1 is an insane move, but black is winning because all you do is play bishop c5 or bishop g5. You target the knight is defending the rook, the game is over because all of this pressure is there, and you just win. Rook to d1 played, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. Rook d1. And we do get rook d1, knight d1. ChatGPT doesn't know the difference between bishop c5 and bishop g5. Now it's game on. Now black is still winning. Why is black winning? Because you play bishop f6, you advance the b pawn, and then you come back and you stomp white's a pawn. White still has a pawn. It's kind of lost in all of this, but it's absolutely possible to screw things up. By the way, b3 on the board. Now black can't just play b2 and d1. I was really worried that ChatGPT was going to do that. Knight b2 on the board. But now, I can't believe this next thing happens. Remember king f8? Well, it turns out that was ChatGPT's way of getting its pieces out because it goes king e7. It goes king to e7 here. And suddenly, white is winning. White is winning. Black took his own bishop. Oh my God. And you can't get over here fast enough. Because now king g1, king d6, king f2, king c5, king e2, you're too late. Give me one more move? Maybe it's possible. Maybe it's possible. But it's over now. This is unbelievable. I can't believe it. Black ChatGPT took his own bishop. Oh, well, after taking his own bishop, you'd be very excited to know that the next move that white played was knight c4, attacking the pawn and losing the game in one move. It's mate in one again. There have been 3 mates in one. Mate in one on the board. But ChatGPT was determined. It knows about the endgame. It's supposed to bring its king. It forgot about the pawn. Now it's easy. Now it's over. Now it's absolutely finished. Not only do you lose the pawn, you attack that pawn. That pawn has to, and you just bring the king. King g1, king d4, you just bring the king. And you push the a, it's over. King e6 on the board. It's over. Knight e3. Oh my God. No, black is winning. Black is winning again. Black is winning again. Black is winning again. Copilot is trying to stop the defense of the promotion. Now b2, b1. You needed to be trapped over here. Knight e3. Black is winning again. b2 on the board. b2 on the board. b1 queen, d1 queen. That's it. You can't stop both. You can't stop both. ChatGPT realizes it. But what it doesn't realize is that in this position, it completely missed that Copilot plays knight takes b2. Oh, dear Lord. Oh, my goodness. It stopped the pawn. It stopped. Knight e3 takes b. Knight e3 takes b. No. It lost its pawn, and now the promotion is covered, and this is GG. This is just absolutely GG. And to make matters worse, the only hope you have now is walking the king to the pawn, but it goes on the wrong square. ChatGPT goes on the wrong square. It goes on the wrong square, and now it's forked, and that's what happens. That's what happens. ChatGPT is forked. It's going to lose its final pawn, and then it's just game over. Then it's game over because the king has to go stop the pawn, and this knight goes over here, eats everybody, and that's the end of the game. White's going to make a queen or 2 or even 3 and win knight c4, king d4, knight d6. And now this is mate again, but ChatGPT, the perfectionist, does not want to lose its pawn. So it plays f6. But it doesn't matter because d1 is unstoppable, which is why after knight to e4, ChatGPT promoted to a queen and actually went here and lost the game again. Now you can either sacrifice and promote your pawn or play knight c3, and that is exactly what happened. Knight c3, king d3, targeting the knight. You just simply get in front, and then you dart out to the side. You're ready to sacrifice the knight for the pawn and promote your a pawn, or you are ready to play knight b1, and for a fifth time in this game, d1, queen, mate, ChatGPT from the top rope, eliminating Copilot by the slimmest of margins in an epic back and forth heavyweight clash. And we are all set for Stockfish versus ChatGPT in the 2025 Chatbot Chess Championship. Welcome to the chess world, and get out of here.